Hi guys, welcome aboard. My name is Captain Cuddy. I'm going to take you out for a spin in this beautiful Cessna 172, but before that, I'm going to tell you about the flight controls and the instruments of the Cessna 172. How does that sound? Good? So first of all, we've got our yoke. Our yoke controls our bank, which turns the aircraft left and right. It also controls our pitch, whether if we want to go down or up. Right here on my right, I've got my throttle. This controls how much power I'm putting into the aircraft. I've also got my flaps, which I use before takeoff and landing to let the aircraft have its nose up. Now for the instruments. So this is our 6-pack in all. It's called the 6-pack. First, our top 3 instruments of our 6-pack. Over on our left, we've got our airspeed indicator, which tells our speed in knots. This knots stand for nautical miles, which is like 1.1 times the normal statute mile. Our takeoff speed is around 55 knots, so you would want to pull up at 40 knots. Our landing speed is 75 knots. In the center, we've got our attitude indicator. It basically shows us how we're doing in the air, if we're pitched up or pitched down, if we're rolling to the right or rolling to the left. Here we've got our altimeter, which shows our altitude. There are 3 hands. There's one very skinny one with the triangle on top. There is one short one, and then there's one long one. The skinny one tells how much every 10,000 feet. So if the skinny line were at 1, we would be at 10,000 feet. Now, the big line. The big line shows how many hundreds of feet. So if this were at 2, we would be 200 feet. Now, the shorter line. The shorter line shows every hundreds of thousands of feet. So if we are at 5, we would be at 5,000 feet. Here, we have our bottom half of the 6-pack. Over on our left is the turn coordinator. The turn coordinator has 2 parts, the aircraft and the ball inside the fluid. The aircraft indicates whether we're a left turn or a right turn. So if the aircraft's left wing were hitting the L mark, that means we were in a left turn. Same with the other. If the right wing was touching the line that says R, then we're in a right turn. Now the ball in the fluid. So if we want to do a left turn in a bike, we want to lean a little to the left as well as turn the handlebar. Same thing on an aircraft. We want to turn a little, bank a little to the left, as well as yaw a little bit to the left. This will give us a fully coordinated turn. As long as we're using the rudder correctly, this ball should always be in the center. If it's not, then we're doing something wrong. This 2 minutes indicates if we want to do a full 360 turn, and if we're in a coordinated turn, it will take 2 minutes. Now for the heading indicator. The heading indicator is aligned with the true north. And in fact, we would want, before flying, we would want to align this with, there's a compass up here. Now this is only for ground use and this is for air use. Just in case this is not in line where it's supposed to be, we would align this with this. So right now it's aligned. And we can even mark a spot in the air, like right now, if maybe we want to mark this spot and we want to practice a 360, we'll know we want to hit back at this mark again. Now, the vertical speed indicator. The vertical speed indicator indicates if we're pitched up or pitched low and how fast we are going up or down. So this 5 up is basically 500 feet per minute so positive rate. We're climbing at a rate of 500 feet per minute. And same with this 10, 15, 20. The 10 indicates we're descending at 1,000 feet per minute. Here, we've got our tachometer, which measures our RPM. So if we were to increase our throttle and our power, this needle will go up, indicating that we've reached around 2300 RPM. Same as if we were to decrease the power, then we're lower, like 700 RPM. Here is the ILS instrument. I've made another video on ILS. Make sure to check that out if you want more detail. But you would want to do this if you would want to follow this if there's zero or a little bit or no visibility and you want to land. Here we've got our radio stack with our with knobs for pilot and co-pilot, and then our GPS 530 and 430. 530 is the latest and 430 was older. Here we've got our squawking number, so this is basically your identification. Tower might say squawk 4702 as I entered here. And then we've got our autopilot. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll take this out for a spin now. We are at the San Carlos airport and Tower has given me clearance to take off, so I'll have to put a notch of flaps to get that nose up. And then parking brake off, full throttle. Once we've reached 55 knots, I'll start pulling up. Pull up. And as you can see, the vertical speed indicator is going up, indicating that we're climbing. And our altimeter is also going up. So we're like at 200 feet right now, and climbing. We've reached 60 knots. Take that flap out so we can get more speed in as we climb. 500 feet and climbing. We're going to make a right turn, indicating. So we're going to coordinate our turn so the bubble should be perfectly in center, as it is. And our heading is moving too. Now we're going to level off at 1,500. Now we're like at 1,300. We're on a final approach to San Carlos. Tower has given me clearance to land. We're around 3 nautical miles away from the runway. 800 feet, descending at a rate of 500 feet per minute, 80 knots. RPM 1500. Can see those lights, maybe even the runway. That's where the runway is. Those lights indicated indicate how I'm doing as a glide slope. So if there are two lights, if they're both white, then I'm too high. If they're both red, then I'm too low. If one's red and one's white, then I'm perfect, which I am now. Put a notch of flaps. Speed 75 knots, where it should be. 300 feet, we're too high. So descend a little bit, now we're good. Now we're too high. Descending at a rate of 500 feet per minute. Right before we touch down, we want to be around like 60 knots. It's called a flare. We stall a little bit. Stall is when you're too slow in speed. Throttle, retard. Pulling up a little bit. Parking brake, so we stop. We were a little bit to the right. And we stopped. Thank you for flying with us. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like. See you next time.